Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back into the Unfiltered Eagles Mailbag. We do this every single Tuesday right here on YouTube. You can submit your questions on Twitter, Instagram. You could also email them to me, bill@975thefanatic.com. Sometimes you get me with Andrew DeCecco. Other times you get Ricky Bo. You never know. But here's the questions today on the Eagles. Also, make sure you're listening every weekday live from 2 to 6 on 97.5
Like
The
and
Fanatic.
subscribe over here.
Yeah, like and subscribe, do all those good things. All right, you ready, Ricky Bo?
I'm waiting.
Question number 1. Was the last game against the Giants a sign of things to come, or will they revert after the bye week?
All right, I think it's a sign of what's to come. And the reason why I say that is I feel like the offensive line has gotten solid. They were solid in that game against the Giants. We saw them pulling on both sides from both guards. We saw pulling to the opposite sides. It looked like they were healthy. And to me, it looked like they were a lot more physical than they've been in past games this season. So, I mean, if that's one indication, I think, secondly, you think about what Nick Sirianni has been able to do. He just had 10 days going into that Giants game to get the Eagles ready, kind of a extended, period of time to get them ready. He got them all ready. He got them physically ready. On top of it, now you're talking about 2 weeks going into your next game. I think they'll be even better.
I think he may be undefeated after the bye in his career, isn't he? Undefeated after the bye?
The one thing he's done extremely well is get guys prepared when he has a long period of time. So I got to believe that this team is on the up.
Yeah, I'm there with you. I think it's a sign of things to come. I mean, if you look at the first 7 games of the season, we had been saying it a lot on the show, they were close. I mean, there were some execution issues. I know a lot of people wanted to blame Kevin Patullo, and he needed to be better. But there were certain play calls that there were plays to be made, and either they missed them down the field or on rushing plays, maybe the offensive line missed a block here or there. You started to see things come into fruition over the last 2 weeks, even going back to the Vikings game where Jalen Hurts is seeing the field better. The offensive line now is performing at a high level. And you know what, dude? The emergence of Tank Bigsby in this Giants game, that could be a big factor as well. Because now if you're able to mix in Saquon Barkley, and then when he gets spelled with Tank Bigsby, who ran with authority on Sunday afternoon, yeah, I think it's a sign of things to come. And on the other side of the football, you're getting some players back after the bye week. Hopefully Nolan Smith's coming back. Brandon Graham should be ready. We'll see if there's going to be a defensive back battle, maybe a trade. Good point. We'll see if there's a D-back battle between Ja'Cory Bennett, Keely Ringo, and Dory Jackson. So I think it's a sign of things to come.
See, that battle's been there all year.
Yeah.
And nobody has kind of emerged there. So that's going to be a sore spot. And I think that's the spot that you have to kind of keep an eye on. But I thought, I bring up the physicality on both sides of the ball. The front line of the offense was outstanding. But you look at what happened on the front line of the defense. 3 sacks for those guys. Jalen Carter, Ojomo, and Jordan Davis.
Yeah,
I mean, isn't that what you want to see from those guys, getting penetration into the other team's backfield? We saw Jackson Dart. How many times did you see him running around in the backfield? Almost every single play that he went back.
Yeah, they had a lot of pressure on him. Well, this kind of leads us to the next question because we were talking about, you just mentioned trade. Which position do they most need to address at the trade deadline? I said this on the air last week. If you would have asked me this a couple weeks ago, I would have said edge rusher. But I'm starting to think maybe it's a cornerback.
You're coming over to the other side.
Yeah, because when Nolan Smith comes back and Brandon Graham, not that you're going to rely on him heavily, but if he can play 15 snaps a game and you have Nolan Smith, Jalix Hunt, Brandon Graham, Josh Uche has really started to come into his own. And now you're mixing in Jahad Campbell because you have Nakobe Dean at linebacker. I think the bigger need is on the outside opposite of Quinyon Mitchell because like you just said, no one has stepped up. Ringo, Adoree, we'll see what Ja'Cory Bennett does now that he's off the injury.
Yeah, but the whole thing with Ja'Cory Bennett, I mean, I think that's the reason why they brought him over here was because they had an open spot over there. But what we've seen is just injuries.
Yeah.
Injuries, and he can't seem to keep himself on the field. When you're not going to keep yourself on the field, you're not proving anything to Vic Fangio.
Your best ability is availability.
Yeah, that becomes a big problem. And, I mean, you're talking about guys that are trying to go out there and prove their worth. And when you're not getting out on the field, I guess many practices in a row, let alone games, I mean, you're not going to show anybody that you could take over a position. And none of those guys had really stepped up.
Yeah.
I mean, you could go back any game you want. That's been a position, and that's been something we had to talk about on Mondays every single game. that they're just not getting the job done there. I mean, if you have games like the Giants where the defensive line is getting after the quarterback every single play and making him kind of flush the pocket all the time, makes it a lot easier on defensive backs. So it was even hard to judge those guys in a game against the Giants because there weren't enough passes out there.
Yeah. We looked at the numbers before. I think Keely Ringo was targeted like
three times.
Yep. No catches were given up.
Yep.
All right, here's a really good question. Headed into the bye week, who would you say the Eagles' MVP on offense and defense has been? And I'll take offense first because this, I think, is the easiest one. It's got to be Jalen Hurts. Even though Jalen Hurts hasn't necessarily played great all 8 games, I think if you look at the MVP, it's been Jalen. He's done enough to win you games. He's looked really good in the passing game in the last 2 games, the Giants and the Vikings. But even before that, even though he hadn't put together a 4-quarter game, he did enough to win the games. You're 6-2 in large part because of your starting quarterback.
Yeah, and I think it's impossible to go to anybody else. I mean, you look at the backfield, you look at the wideouts. I don't think that they've had consistent games that were good, with the exception of the tight end, Dallas Goedert.
Goddard could be up there, man.
I'm telling you,
7 TDs,
7 touchdowns. He seems to be open all the time. And it's kind of funny because Jalen kind of had defined that as being, okay, it's one of those things where, Dallas does a lot of grunt work, but he also does get open in schemes when he's involved in a play. So, I mean, the one thing they've been doing is targeting him in the red zone, which I think is big for the Eagles. And I think he's done a really nice job this year.
All right,
you want to go defensively?
Yeah, this is the harder one. Who's been the MVP on defense?
I'm going to say Jalen Carter.
He's missed 2 games.
But I want you to think about something. He was out in that first game against the Giants. The Giants did pretty much whatever they wanted to do.
Yeah.
He comes back in the second game against the Giants, and boom, everything changes. And I think he knows it. I think everybody out there knows it. I mean, I wouldn't say he's my MVP. I think he's the most important person out there right now.
Yeah.
I would say Jordan Davis.
Jordan Davis has been good too. But you're right, because even now, as you're mentioning Carter, you go back to that Vikings game. It was his hit on Carson Wentz that results in the Jalen Hunt pick 6 the other way. It really changed the entire first half.
I'm just saying, he's a guy that could change a game just by being out there. And I know he's missed a couple. Well, he got thrown out at one of the games.
All right, you know where I'm going to go? Similar reasoning. You're saying Carter missed the Giants game. Who else missed the majority of the Giants game? Quinyon Mitchell. If you didn't have Quinyon Mitchell on this team, where the hell would you be? With the struggles you have at the opposite corner position with Adoree Jackson, Keely Ringo, Jacorian Bennett, if you didn't have Quinyon shutting down one half of the field, you'd be in trouble.
That would be like a computer glitch, because you'd have to take Cooper DeJean, put him at one of the corner positions, and then try to fill the other 2 positions, which are hard to do.
Coop's been good too. He's been good this year too. But I would go Quinyon Mitchell. But that's a good question.
Quinyon's been great,
yeah,
and I think Cooper's been good.
Yeah, at the nickel corner. That's a really good question.
I mean, people hardly ever throw at Quinyon Mitchell.
Who's going to finish the year as the MVP? There, I'll go Jalen Carter. I think you'll start to see Jalen Carter get better and better and better as the season goes on. So we'll see that.
Jomo.
Yeah, dude, he's had, 3 sacks already this year?
Yeah.
All right, next question. Before this past game, were the run game struggles more about the offensive line, the scheme, or Saquon himself?
I think it's the offensive line. I don't think anything's really changed with Saquon. The holes were there. I don't care who you are as a running back. I don't care if you're the greatest of all time. If there's no hole to run in, guess what's going to happen? Nothing. You're going to end up trying to dance in the backfield. And I think that, you think about contact. When does the contact happen? Early in the season, the contact was happening in the backfield a lot against Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, this game against the Giants, he has some openings where he could actually make some moves and decisions after getting through the first level. I think that makes him obviously better, but I think it has everything to do with the offensive line.
Yeah, I'm there with you. If we're asking what was the primary reason, O-line, I think scheme played a part in it. I think you saw them change things up in this game against the Giants with regard to the blocking scheme and the run scheme. But yeah, ultimately it was the O-line. We've been talking about it for a few weeks on the show, that injuries, Landon Dickerson did not look like himself until this game against the Giants. Obviously, Cam Jurgens being in and out of the lineup, but Brett Toth stepped up in a big way. Lane Johnson hasn't looked the same until this past week. So, yeah, I'm going with O-line, but certainly a good sign of things to come. And we're going to do this every single Tuesday, our Eagles mailbag right here on YouTube.
Don't forget to thank Patricia.
Big thank you to Patricia Caputo behind the camera today, our LSU girl behind
So much
the camera.
better than that other person.
But listen, we do Eagles mailbags on Tuesday. We do Flyers mailbags on Thursday. So make sure Flyers fans get your Flyers questions in as well. Like I said, you can message us on Twitter, Instagram. Also send us an email, bill@975 The Fanatic. And make sure you're listening every single weekday, 2 to 6 on 97.5 The Fanatic for Unfiltered, Ricky Bowe, Bill Colarulo. You don't hear much of Patricia, but it's coming. It's coming. It's coming soon. All right, have a good one, everybody.
Thanks for watching Unfiltered on YouTube. You could like and subscribe down here. You could also see our other shows over here. Go ahead and watch them all. We love when you watch. The one thing, hey, you could also catch us on 97.5 The Fanatic, 97.5thefanatic.com, and NBC Sports Philadelphia. See you there.